Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. In last week's video, I described how the Northstan Empire is set up in my upcoming release, Heir to the Empire, The Path Not Taken. And in today's video, I thought I would discuss a little something about the main man behind this organization, and the principal antagonist of this of my upcoming novel, namely Emperor Harold I of House Stackton. He is 65 years old, 1 meter 83 or 6 feet tall, and at the beginning of this novel has held the title of Emperor for 13 years. He has a stout build, pale complexion, black eyes, and by that I mean black irises, don't be mistaken, a bald head, and in fact he doesn't really have any kind of hair above the neck, and his face, and he has various scars running both along and across his face. A medically astute observer would be able to notice that his scars mainly run along various blood vessels. He is the youngest child of Lord Wilfred Stackton and Princess Leandra Corondan. Yes, he was technically in line for the Corondan Imperial throne, but even he recognizes that that actually mattered very little in terms of his actual ascent. He also has two younger sisters, but he doesn't really talk about them or to them for a variety of reasons. Growing up, his heroes were mainly those he found within religious texts, because yes, he was raised to at least know about the hero worship faith of his forefathers, and also from various historical accounts. He very much respected and obeyed his parents in maybe not all matters, but most matters, and he very much enjoyed as a child spending time with other boys his age, often challenging them to various games and races. While he wasn't always the most physically proficient among them, he quickly proved himself to be a born leader, someone who could talk sense into them and get them to do what the most advisable thing within any given situation. This quickly earned him the respect of his peers, and it eventually garnered him the attention of the elders within his community, within the aristocracy, where he proved himself to be a very competent and very decisive commander. The opportunity to prove his reputation came very soon, actually, during the Phrygian War of Independence. The Empire lost that war, hence why it's called the War of Independence. But Harold was among the commanders who actually managed to was among the Imperial commanders who actually managed to do a good job during the war, being able to make some quite substantial gains. But however, his commanding officer could never really capitalize on his efforts due to various problems on other parts of the front, because you know how wars are. There was one point where he was accused of, blamed for a fault that wasn't his, and he decided to take the blame for it. Perhaps because he thought it was more important to save a friend's career than maintain his reputation. Anyway, I think you get the main idea behind him. He was taught that there is a one principal way regarding how things should be done, and he thought that, and he very much assimilated that project, that way of thinking within himself. he within himself. After the war was over, he married Lady Isabel Ribbentrop, and and had a very perhaps peaceful but very content marriage, where he very much delighted in the simple domestic bliss his wife and his standing as a lord, let's be serious, offered him. His relationship with his son Henry, though, that was a different beast entirely. Henry was very capable as a child, but also very stubborn. Always adamant that things always had to go his way, or the way he imagined they should. Harold still had to acknowledge that Henry was often quite successful and was often making very good progress. However, however, he seemed to have a lot of problems making sure that Henry went down the straight and narrow, and that Henry followed the straight and narrow, and Harold never really was able to instill upon him the importance of protocol and order. The arguments between them only grew louder and louder, deeper, and more bitter as Henry became of age, and that really threatened to destabilize their familial unit. Still, it was surprising to Harold when Henry not just instigated the Young Hawks uprising, but also when said uprising started to gather some steam. He was soon entrusted with the duty of quelling his son's rebellion, a duty that he accepted with what he assumed to be quiet dignity, and he was looking forward to finally instilling upon his son the discipline that he had spared Henry for so long. In spite of his drive and his experience and his overall expertise as a commander, Henry was still constantly capable of staying one step ahead of him, and was always capable of countering the advantages that the Korondan Imperial forces were supposed to have, especially against the force such as the Young Hawks. And Harold had found himself thwarted at every opportunity, but could not, for the life of him, really figure out how to do it. The worst part of that, of the early days of the war, at least for Harold himself, was the fact that even the resolution between him and his son's conflict was nowhere near as decisive or as satisfying as he really would have wanted it to be. While he did meet his son in battle and defeat him, his son was killed in action. And while Harold was glad that his son died fighting, he was still miserable that his son died, and therefore leaving him without an heir, without a successor, which meant that Harold would never really be part of anyone's heritage. The second reason was that a short time after the battle, his wife all of a sudden, out of the blue, disappeared without a trace. The third thing that really caused him a lot of dismay in that early part of the war was the fact that some days or weeks after he defeated his son in the field of battle at Steyr Heights, the Korondani Imperial family was assassinated, thereby making the cause that he fought for seem completely useless. Within just a few days or a few weeks, Harold basically lost more than he ever thought it was possible for him to lose. Still, he he went back to his education and his protocol and did what basically every noble in his situation would do. Do his best to maintain his power and his prestige. He appointed himself as emperor and in charge of the war effort, and set out to reconquer the parts of the empire that had been overrun by hostiles. He also ordered that someone else search for his wife, because even though he would have he would have wanted to do so himself, he had a war to win. After 10 years, most of the empire had been reconquered, and enough for Harold to say that his work on that particular area is done. His wife, however, was still missing, and her disappearance remains one of the biggest mysteries of the interregnal war. That, suffice it to say, really did not sit well with him. So he pretty much spent the entirety of his reign buried within his work and his duty. He currently resides within his family castle, alongside a surrogate daughter and her biological father, still tending to his duties as emperor, and still seeing new enemies almost around every turn. How well he fares over the course of the novel is something I'll leave up to you to figure out once that novel gets released. Until then, thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed this video and maybe what I had to say about it, within it, well then please leave a like. Ideally also share the video wherever you think other people will also like watching it. If you have anything you'd like to add to what it is that I presented, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. The book I've already released, Heir to the Empire Next Generation, is available at most major book retailers under a master link in the description down below. Right past all of my social media links, which I also suggest you check out, should you choose to do so. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.